coming up on Retiring Well with Michael Reese.
You start with $1 million, you made 10% a year, and you somehow lost $40K. But more importantly, in a bad year, instead of losing 30%, you might only lose 5%.
It's the big negatives that hurt. A little volatility is something you can live with as you take income, but avoid the big negatives.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, where we believe your best is yet to come.
Welcome to Retiring Well. I'm your host, Michael Reese. I'm glad to have you with us this week. This week we are talking about how negative returns can affect your retirement planning. And folks, I know this is not a fun topic. I mean, the markets have been doing great for the last several years. Why focus on the negatives? Well, the reason we do is this. It is important that you understand that markets, they go up. That's the fun part. But guess what? They also go down. They go both directions. And you need to understand, hey, when markets are going up, everything's rosy, that's great, doesn't hurt your retirement at all. But you need to understand that when they do go the other way, how does that affect you? And we want to have this information out before they go south so that you can be protected when that time eventually comes. So I want to share a little story with you. Okay, so I've been doing this, I've been helping people with their retirement planning for over 20 years now. I have seen markets lose half of their value twice. And there's a story I want to share with you about a couple that I visited with. And by the way, I visited with a lot of couples where this story was essentially the same. This story, I can give you dozens and dozens and dozens of families where they had this exact same story after 2000, 2001, 2002, right? Remember September 11? And then after 08. I'll pick one out of 08 just because it's a little fresher in my mind, of course. So I had a couple come in the office at the beginning of 2008. Now, you might recall in those days, the markets had just started going down, but nobody was really worried about stuff yet, right? That people weren't freaking out yet. They just kind of started. So anyway, this couple had come in, they'd come to, I think they were watching, I don't remember if they were watching the show or if they came into one of our seminars. I don't remember where they came from, but they came into the office, they said, hey Mike, here is our retirement plan. We have $1 million and we are extracting $50,000 a year for income, or 5%. So they're taking $50,000 a year for income on $1 million. And I asked them a very simple question. I said, guys, let's call them, obviously I can't use real names, so let's just call them John and Mary. I said, John, Mary, how important is it to you that 50,000 continues? So if the market goes up, your $1 million might be worth more, it might be worth less. What's more important here? Is it that you have $1 million, or is it that you want 50,000 a year coming out of that portfolio to support your lifestyle? Well, they said, Mike, for us, we're not spending the $1 million, we spend 50 grand a year. That's what our lifestyle is based on, or is dependent on that 50,000 coming out every year. And I said, okay, if that's the case, you got to reduce the risk of your portfolio because, I said if, the markets are down a little bit, if that keeps going, you could lose a lot of money. And if you lose a lot of money, that could jeopardize your ability to take that 50,000. You need to take your risk and tighten it up. You know what they said to me? They said, yeah, Mike, I understand, but we had over I think 1.1 million and yeah, it's come down a little bit. I don't really think that's going to happen. And if it goes back up to 1.1, then we'll take your advice. I mean, we hear silly excuses like that all the time. Well, you know what happened? The rest of 08 happened. And I remember the same couple came to me shortly after, at the beginning of 2009. And they said to me, they said, Mike, we remember talking to you a year ago. We're back, and we're kind of at wit's end. Because remember how we had $1 million a year ago when we were talking to you? Well, after taking our $50,000 out and the market going down, we're down to about $500,000. About half our money's gone. And the problem is we still want our $50,000 of income. Well, you can do the math on that. Before, they were only taking out 5% income. They still want 50, but they only have 500 left. So what does that mean? Now they need 10%. And you know what I had to tell them? I had to tell them, look, that's fine. You can keep taking your 50 grand a year, but you know what's going to happen? And I didn't even have to finish this. I didn't have to answer the question. They answered it. And they said, yeah, that's our problem. We figure if we keep taking that 50, we're going to run out of money. Right? So you know what they had to do? Tighten their belt. Take less income. They actually had to go back and get a part-time job. I don't want that to happen to you. Let's make sure you're in good shape right now. Let's not let the next down market affect you like it did that couple.
The new Trump tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands on your IRA. Learn how to take advantage of the new law at a dinner evening with your Retiring Well TV hosts from Centennial Wealth Advisory. This is a no-cost, information-only, no-pressure event with a fine dining experience you won't soon forget. Important topics we'll discuss are 3 ways to use the new tax code to move money into tax-free accounts at reduced rates, hidden tax-related pitfalls that most advisors are missing, the importance of managing risk, and the effect of volatility on your retirement savings. The #1 mistake most Americans are making with their retirement accounts. Are you one of them? And much more. Dinner is on us, and there is absolutely no obligation. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that is most convenient for you. Tuesday, May 15th at the Otsego Club and Resort in Gaylord. Wednesday, May 16th, or Tuesday, May 22nd at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City. Presentations start at 6 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. Don't miss this important presentation and learn how the new tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Today in Chalk Talk, we're looking at the impact that negatives have on a portfolio and how it affects average returns and all kinds of fun stuff. And I've got a great little illustration to help you better understand this. So let's imagine, for the sake of discussion, that you are a very lucky person and you have a rich uncle dies and you inherit $2 million, right? $2 million. No. Let's make this more fun. You inherit $3 million tax-free. And what happens is the minute you inherit $3 million, you do what everybody who inherits $3 million does. You immediately go out and spend $1 million of it. It takes you like a week, right? I mean, you buy a car, a boat, a diamond ring, whatever it is, you have fun. But then you think, oh, wow, that went fast. I only have $2 million left, right? So you think, I better invest this $2 million I have left. And so here's what you do. The first thing you do is you say, well, you know, there's this company stock that I've had my eye on. I have had my eye on this company. I know it's a buy. I know I should be putting money in that. So the first thing you do is you put $1 million of it, or half of your remaining $2 million, into some individual company stock, whatever that company is. And the other $1 million, you say, I don't want to take so much risk with the rest of my money. I'm just going to put it in like an overall portfolio. So that's what you do. $1 million in one stock and $1 million in a portfolio. And here's what happens. In the very first year, that stock, that's up 60%. Woo, who's a brilliant investor? Yeah, you are, aren't you? You are brilliant. And the portfolio, that was doing okay. It wasn't up as much, but it was up, say, let's say 30, right? Hey, that's still good. 30's still good. But here's the problem. We all know this, right? What goes up must come, down. Yeah. And then here's what happens in year 2. In year 2, it's like, oh man, gosh darn it, my stock that was up 60, oh, now it's down 40. And you think to yourself, gosh, but that's okay, right? Because I was up 60, I was down 40, and if I do the math, I'm still up 20% or 10% per year. Right? I still average 10%, so it's not the worst thing that ever happened. And so far, that math is 100% correct. Well, while this was going on, this portfolio, the stock was down 40. How was the portfolio doing? Well, in that same year, let's say it was down 10. And so on that half of your money, you do the math again. You're like, okay, plus 30 minus 10 is, it's the same thing. Plus 20% total, 10% return per year. All right. That's all right. And so here's what you think to yourself. You think, okay, both my stock and my portfolio, they're up the same amount over the same period of time. I started with $1 million in both of them. I should end up with basically the same amount of money, and we're ignoring taxes for the purpose of this discussion. All right. Time to marry your math and your money. It's time to marry them. Let's start with a portfolio. You started with $1 million. You're up 30% in the first year. What's 30% of $1 million? It's $300K, right? So if you started with $1 million, after 1 year, you've got $1.3 million. Feel pretty good. Well, 10% loss minus 130, you end with $1.17 million. That's okay. How'd the stock do? Well, after 1 year, again, started with $1 million. After 1 year, you're up 60, you're at 1.6 million. But then the next year, you lost 40. What's 40% of 1.6 million? It's 640K. Are you seeing a problem coming? You ended up with 960K. I started with $1 million, and you start with $1 million, you made 10% a year, and you somehow lost 40K. In our industry, they call that an oops. Here's the moral of the story. Moral of the story is this. Same average return, different results. Lower volatility, a lower down gives you more money at the end of the day.
The new Trump tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands on your IRA. Learn how to take advantage of the new law at a dinner evening with your Retiring Well TV hosts from Centennial Wealth Advisory. This is a no-cost, information-only, no-pressure event with a fine dining experience you won't soon forget. Important topics we'll discuss are 3 ways to use the new tax code to move money into tax-free accounts at reduced rates, hidden tax-related pitfalls that most advisors are missing, the importance of managing risk, and the effect of volatility on your retirement savings. The #1 mistake most Americans are making with their retirement accounts. Are you one of them? And much more. Dinner is on us, and there is absolutely no obligation. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that is most convenient for you. Tuesday, May 15th at the Otsego Club and Resort in Gaylord. Wednesday, May 16th, or Tuesday, May 22nd at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City. Presentations start at 6 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow, but seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. Don't miss this important presentation and learn how the new tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Hi, I'm sitting here with Larry Flynn. Thanks for being here, Larry.
Thank you, Mike.
He's one of the advisors at Centennial Wealth Advisory. And folks, as you may know by now, we certainly invite you to come visit with us. It's absolutely free to get a second opinion on your retirement planning. And I think it's important to get a second opinion from someone who's a specialist when it comes to retirement planning. And Larry, I'm sure they're wondering, if they pick up the phone and they call and come visit with you, what can they expect? What's that experience like?
Well, Mike, they can expect not to get hard sold, okay? We're gonna greet them warmly. We're gonna sit down and talk to them a little bit about maybe their story, where they're from, where they grew up, how they met their spouse, what they're dreaming of doing once they get soon to be retired or retired.
Kind of what are their goals, right?
Yeah, what are your goals? We're gonna talk to them a little bit about who we are, what we do, show them how we do things, especially dealing in the market realities we find ourselves in today.
Got it. So essentially, they're coming in, you're learning a little bit about what's important to them, what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish. I'm sure you're taking a look at what they're doing so far. You maybe share a little bit about you, and it's just in a very relaxed atmosphere.
That's right.
And there's no cost to do this. Is that correct?
No cost. No
All right. So, folks, there you go. I mean, it sounds very simple, very easy, very laid back. There's no reason for you not to just pick up the phone, call the number on the screen, come visit us, get that second opinion. You'd be glad that you did. Welcome back. So this week we're talking about how these negative returns in the markets affect your retirement. And you might remember earlier in the show I talked about John and Mary, where they had that $1 million. They were taking $50,000 a year, and then the markets crashed in 08 and they were down to $500,000. They still wanted $50K, and well, that just doesn't work out. So the issue is, what could John and Mary have done before this all happened? So what types of options did they have where they could have protected that $50,000 where the market crash wouldn't have hurt them? And maybe said another way, what options do you have today? I mean, we've made a lot of money in the markets. What options do you have to protect your income during your retirement, whether the market's good or whether it's bad? All right, well, I'm going to share them with you. You got two. You basically have two options. This is not rocket science. That's the good news. So what's option number one? Option number one is you guarantee your income. Well, how do you guarantee income? Well, there's kind of a couple ways. So one of the things you could do is you could go out and buy government bonds. Right? Government bonds guarantee income. The only problem with that today is they're only earning about 2% on a 10-year government bond. So you can't get a lot of income. Or said another way, you need a lot of money to guarantee income. That's an option. Or you could also look at things like CDs or other guaranteed types of accounts. Another way, though, the way most people are guaranteeing income today, in today's interest rate environment, the way most people are guaranteeing income is through annuities with income riders, typically fixed indexed annuities with income riders, and today they can provide a decent income. And I'll give you an example of that. If you are if you're age 65, you can still today guarantee for your lifetime right around 5.5% to 6%, depending on if you're married or single. If you're single, you get a little higher number. If you're married, a little lower number. But you can still get close to 6% guaranteed income if you're open to using annuities with income riders. And that's going to happen for the rest of your life, no matter what the markets do. That is certainly a solution for some people, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is definitely a way you can go. If it makes sense for you, we shop all the companies to identify who's giving the best rates in that category. Now, the other way, or the second way you can handle this or protect your income is an approach that we generally prefer in today's world. And that is by creating a portfolio that is focused on low volatility. Now, by the way, low volatility, that sounded really fancy, didn't it? That sounds like I know what I'm talking about. It made me sound smart even, that word volatility. Ooh. What does that really mean? What that really means is you build a portfolio that is designed for consistency. Now, let me give you an example of that. Most clients that we talk to, if you're in a balanced portfolio, roughly half in stocks and half in bonds, maybe it's 60-40 one way or the other. For an average return, you can expect that you're going to earn about 6% in that type of a portfolio. But your best year, you might be up 30%. You might be down 30%. So you got a pretty wide range of outcomes that you might achieve. And you know what? When you're taking income, if you're up 30, that's not a problem. Where's the problem? Yeah, it's in the years where you're down 30. So what is a low volatility portfolio or a portfolio built for consistency? How does that compare? Well, you get the same 6% return. However, in a good year, instead of making 30%, you might only make 15 or 20. But more importantly, in a bad year, instead of losing 30%, you might only lose 5 or maybe even 8. So the idea is protect yourself from those losses, and that helps you protect your income. So you've got a couple ways there, right, that we just talked about. You can absolutely guarantee it using insurance companies, or you can build a low volatility portfolio to limit your loss exposure, try to get a little more consistency of returns. They both work, combinations work. The important part is, how does it best work for you? Well, that's why you should call us. That's why you should come in and visit with us, so we can help you create a plan that fits your unique circumstances.
The new Trump tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands on your IRA. Learn how to take advantage of the new law at a dinner evening with your Retiring Well TV hosts from Centennial Wealth Advisory. This is a no-cost, information-only, no-pressure event with a fine dining experience you won't soon forget. Important topics we'll discuss are 3 ways to use the new tax code to move money into tax-free accounts at reduced rates, hidden tax-related pitfalls that most advisors are missing, the importance of managing risk, and the effect of volatility on your retirement savings. The #1 mistake most Americans are making with their retirement accounts. Are you one of them? And much more. Dinner is on us, and there is absolutely no obligation. Call 888-608-5825 to register and choose the date and location that is most convenient for you. Tuesday, May 15th at the Otsego Club and Resort in Gaylord. Wednesday, May 16th, or Tuesday, May 22nd at Boone's Long Lake Inn in Traverse City. Presentations start at 6 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 to reserve your seats today. Don't miss this important presentation and learn how the new tax code opens the window to potentially saving thousands. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Hi, welcome back to the show. My name is Larry Flynn, and this is Art Canfield. We are both advisors here at Centennial Wealth, and we're going to just have a little discussion about why big negatives hurt. Art, you take it away.
It's pretty obvious. They hurt real bad in many different ways. We've heard the stories time in and time out when somebody gets their statements and they see a big loss in value. Obviously, most people worked really hard for that money, whether they've saved or not through the year.
Wait, they might actually see a negative on their statement. Now, would that ever happen with us?
Well, it could, right? I wish we
During
could
the
say.
market.
Yeah, I wish you could say that was guaranteed not to happen, but we definitely can't, unfortunately, do that. But people work hard for their money. A lot of people may have worked 30, 40 years to contribute to 401k plans or save in some fashion, and they see those losses. It hurts. But really what this is more speaking to is it hurts your chances of a successful retirement or income plan in retirement. The days that, when we first got into this business, people had Social Security, pensions, and their savings was just the extras, right? Their Social Security and pensions met their daily living expenses or their monthly expenses. Now, folks have to turn this 401ks, these IRA, into income. They don't have the pensions or may not be fortunate to have a big pension like many of the retirees of the past did. So it's all the more critical that they can build a plan that generates consistent income. Well, when you have big losses, that's hard to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, we'd see people come in with a company pension, and that would have a cost of living adjustment associated with it, right? It would go up with inflation, and then they'd have Social Security, which would, by the way, was not supposed to be the retirement plan, right? It's supplemental security income by definition, right? It was supposed to come alongside something. But it also had a cost of living adjustment. So wasn't it reasonable that for most people, that would meet their income needs for life?
Right.
And then they'd have a modest amount over here, right? And that would just be there for future emergencies or whatever. But now they're coming in with everything in this bucket, right? They got Social Security, but everything in this retirement bucket. And then trying to turn that into a predictable and sustainable income that they can count on is the challenge, right?
Exactly, it is. I think people are about ready to jump through the TV at us, Larry, about talking about a cost of living adjustment anymore. When's the last time anyone's seen like a real cost of living adjustment? But the thing of it is that we've used this example time in and time out on this show, and I'm going to use it again because it is all important, and people have to understand this, is that if you have, let's just say $500,000 in savings, and you want to pull an income from that, and you're, let's say, pulling $25,000 a year, so you're 5%, and you have an unfortunate big loss in your portfolio to do a market correction or downfall in the market, and your $500,000 drops to $250. Massive drop, obviously. It hurts in a lot of different ways, but now you've come accustomed or need to live on that $25,000 because you don't have that pension or whatever. Right. Well, so now you're pulling $25,000 out of $250,000. It doesn't take a big math rocket scientist to figure out that that's going to be hard to do. Right. You're going to see that's a 10% withdrawal rate, meaning that portfolio needs to earn 10% annually just to keep pace. Right. and not fall behind. And as any realistic person knows, sure, you may get lucky and get one every now and then, a double-digit year, but a lot of times they're few and far between.
Yeah. Isn't it true, too, Art, that when we're talking about losses, you probably need to emphasize it's the big losses are the ones that hurt. I mean, you can have small corrections, right, in the market, and it's not going to hurt as bad.
Yeah, most people, when they're structured appropriately, can absorb those losses where they have, a couple percent, or everybody has their own uncle point, right? That where they feel is enough is enough. But it's the big 20s, 30, 40% losses are the ones that devastate, a retiree's income plan and investment plan, and really force them to do things they may not want to do. Maybe those big losses force them to go back to work and something they never want to do. Maybe it forces them to cut their lifestyle. They can't travel like they wanted to, or give the extra gifts to grandkids, or whatever that may be. Might mean different things to different people.
Right. Well, thanks, Art. Appreciate it. And thank you for joining us in this segment. Again, we just want to emphasize it's the big negatives that hurt. A little volatility is something you can live with as you take income, but avoid the big negatives. Again, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.